The Laughing Stoic Buddha podcast has come a long way from humble beginnings, and today we have a first. We have a Marvel superhero joining us in the Laughing Stoic Buddha universe. Maverick, how does it feel to be a Marvel superhero?
I get paid way too much for this shit, man. Nah, jokes. I'm not even a main character, guys. But it was amazing to be a part of a film like that. Mainly because the budget's fat as shit, so there's a lot of free food. That's the
Hell
only
yeah.
thing. Everything
Hell yeah.
else is way overrated, bro, to be honest.
Were you vegan at the time of the filming?
No, I wasn't. So I
Okay.
was like they had free, what's it called? Food truck. Every single week was a new food truck. There was like a snack tent and everything that was only allowed to like the stunties, the people that were doing stunts and stuff, and the obviously the higher status people. And so I actually wasn't like a full-on fledged stunty, but I did some stunts. And so my description was actually special abilities extra. So I was more than extra, but I wasn't exactly a stunty. And for that particular film, so I actually like my mask. I had to wear. If you guys have seen Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I got to wear the 49ers outfit. It's all black, and all you see are my eyes. So I'll come in, and I'll get some. I'll be like, hey, can I get some of that snack, that nut bar over there? They're like, are you stunts? I'm like, what does it look like? Like, I'm like, well, why would I be wearing this if I'm not stunts? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, you give me one of that, give me two of those, give me one. Bring some for my mom as well. It was the best. Bro. We got fed so good, and we'd get like two of everything, and I bulked so much, I gained so much weight, man.
I
It was
bet, dude.
crazy.
I bet, dude. This is so cool. So I've had Hollywood screenwriters on the podcast, but this is the first time I'm getting the insider politics of which food truck you get to go to on a Hollywood set. This is
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
yeah, dude. There's the what? How do I say the politics in there, the hierarchy. There's a huge hierarchy. Like the people that are in the just the normal extras, they get like this one food tent, and they get shitty. Well, the food's still pretty good, but the main characters and the directors and all those, they get like this next level shit, man.
Yeah, top of the line cuisine. Right on, bro. That's so
So
cool.
as you know me, I would always go to both and get the best of both worlds, you know.
Right on. Well, I didn't plan on starting with this, but since we're talking about food, this is the Laughing Stoic Buddha podcast. So a big part of Buddhism often is veganism and
Yes.
doing no harm, right? Not harming animals. So talk to me about how long you've been vegan and what led you to make that decision and what that decision has, how that diet change has affected your life.
Yeah, man. So I've been full vegan for now since the beginning of 2021. Yeah, so it's just been over 3 years. And man, ever since I like started, even the first week, I've just felt so elevated. I felt so much lighter, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I just feel so much weight lifted off my shoulders. I feel much stronger. I feel much more confident, much more aligned with my purpose, and just feel amazing in general. At the age of 30, I feel way more healthier than I did at 22, 23, 19, even. Yeah,
That's awesome,
that's
man. Well, and when you say stronger, I just need people to appreciate for those that don't know you. This is a
hmm.
strong motherfucker. All right. So I
Merci
I'm,
beaucoup.
I'm gonna ask you, bro, how many pull-ups, how many push-ups, how many sit-ups do you think you've done since the turn of the calendar year? We're at the end of January right now.
You mean since this beginning of this year? Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Rough estimate.
not many pull-ups, I must admit, because I'm just so sick of those, bro. After I finally hit that 20,000 mark, and I was just like, I'm fucking done, bro.
Ooh,
For for a
dive into
while.
that. The
That's
20,000 pull-up mark. Tell us about that journey.
okay. So I pretty much had an egotistical goal, and I look back, I realized it was a very egotistical goal because I was looking through my friend's Instagram stories, and he was doing pull-ups, and then one on the screen it said 360 slash 11,000. So automatically I assumed that he was planning to hit 11,000 pull-ups. And this, mind you, this is a guy that's competed. I'm not sure if you know about the Commonwealth Games. It's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much diluted Olympics. but
Mhm.
it's still, you got to be very powerful to get into there. And he was doing powerlifting, and he's like shout out to my brother, Phil Lau. He's my age, but he's like half a head shorter than me. And I'm like, bro, I need to beat this motherfucker, man. If I can beat this guy, I'll feel good about myself. And he didn't even know. I just told him like recently that I was like trying to beat him the whole time, like some Michael Jordan shit. And so at that point, I was like, oh, fuck this guy. I'm gonna get 15,000 pull-ups. And so I already decided at that point I was going to do 15,000 pull-ups by the end of the year. And so I was the next day I went to go do some pull-ups. I was at like 100 or something, and I was training this random guy from France. He the first day I met him, and he was like asking me how to do pull-ups and everything. And I'm like, yeah, this is how you do it, blah blah, and like this is how you can progress to a muscle up, blah blah blah. And then he was like, oh, okay, well, what are your goals to me? And I was like, I'm gonna hit 20,000 pull-ups. And I'm like, as soon as I said that, I caught myself. I'm like, why the fuck did I say that for? Fuck.
Where did that number come from?
Like, I know an extra 33% on top, and I was just like, ah, fuck, what I say that for, man? Because for me, for the people that need to know something about me, is that I really hold myself accountable for my words that I speak. And so, because I used to be a big liar, I used to be the biggest liar. Like shit would come out my mouth whenever I'd open it, right?
I can
So,
relate. Yep.
because of that, I had to force myself to be a man of my word, and have my words actually have some kind of meaning and weight to it, so I can
Love
speak
it.
things into existence.
Love it.
And so when I said that 20,000 pull-ups, I shat myself because I knew I was gonna have to go on a crazy journey, bro. And so what was crazy after that was when I went home, and at that point it was around end of June, and it was around exactly 6 months until the end of the year. So I was like, okay, 20,000 divided by 30 times 6. And so the answer was 111.11111. And I was like, oh, synchronicity, man. Like God is literally telling you, like, do these pull-ups, motherfucker, kind of
Gotta do
thing.
it.
And so I was like, like, wow, this is fucking crazy kind of thing again. And so now I realized that this wasn't me that chose this journey. I didn't choose 20,000, obviously, because I was like, I want to pull that back, bro. But it
It
was, it
shows
was
you.
exactly, exactly. And what was crazy about that was around like 1.5 months out of the end of the year, I was at like 54 days left. I think I had like, I forgot the exact number, but I had, I don't know, I think it was like 3,000 pull-ups left, something like that. And I had to do it within 54 days. I did. Okay, these aren't the numbers, obviously, but
Okay.
I did like 3,000 divided by 54, and again, the exact number was 111.11111, and
Whoa.
I was like, "Yo, this is crazy, man!" Because some days I'll do 50, some days I'll do 200, some days I'll do 500, some days I'll do one. Okay, maybe not one, but like the minimum I'll do would be like 50. But it was always like fluctuating, and then when it got to that point when it was almost finishing, it was the exact same number. And I was like, yo, this is literally
Wow.
heaven, like just laughing at me kind of thing. Buddha is laughing at me right now that with Marcus Aurelius, man. Jeez.
Yes, yes. I love it,
So
man.
that was a crazy journey. I haven't, that's why I haven't done as many pull-ups in the past few weeks, but I've started a new challenge for myself. I told myself, I think it was like 1 week out of the year, like 1 week before the year ended, I told myself I was going to do at least 100 push-ups every single morning, until and so that's been like almost just over a month now. Fuck, time's sometimes time flies, but sometimes time's so fucking slow as well.
I know what you mean, man. Yeah, time
God
is
damn
definitely
it.
relative. Okay,
Yeah,
so we
man.
got how many push-ups so far this year?
So minimum, I've done at least 3,000 for sure, at least.
Wow. That's
But
impressive, bro.
no, but it's not that much, honestly, compared to like some people out there, bro. Some people would go, they go crazy, bro. Like I had a friend that I met on set of this show called Last King of the Cross. It's on Paramount Plus. Quite a shameless plug. Shout out to my brother. Fuck, I forgot his name. Yo, Andrew. Andrew
There it
Trill, my
is.
brother. Yo, he did 1,000 push-ups every day for like a solid 50 days straight. That's
Whoa.
like 50,000 push-ups straight in like freaking 50 days. Like, goddamn. Anyways, that guy's crazy, bro. So
Yeah,
yeah, there's easy motherfuckers out there, man.
Okay, so I want to get behind. So I work out, but I'm like not a crazy amount of pull-ups a day. I like to do weighted pull-ups and increase the weight
Yes,
over time,
yes,
right? Yeah.
that's what I
So
want to do now.
okay, right on. I at my best was doing 80 pounds at 10 reps on
Oh,
pull-up.
bro,
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. How
now
many
when I
kilos is
say
that?
that in kilos, that'd be around 45, something around there,
That's
45
fucking
kilos.
crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
So now I'll say that's the
And you're
only lift.
lighter too.
Yeah, I'm 150 pounds. So
Dude, that's
like
fucking crazy,
100,
bro.
150% of my body weight. Now, that's the only lift I'm good at. Like my bench press, fucking everything else is
Fuck the rest, bro. Fuck the rest, bro.
I'm
Just
just
take
trying
the
to get
world,
insane
just get the
fucking
world record
biceps.
for this. Hey, just get the world record for this, and just
I,
don't tell anyone else about
I,
anything
I
else.
I like to really zero in on one lift, and I don't know. It's probably not the best for my physique, but it's just nice for my mentality to see myself
But
get
actually,
stronger and
pull-ups
stronger.
is really good for your chest as well,
Oh
and
yeah,
your
absolutely.
your upper body in general. Like
If
I
it,
feel like if you had to choose one workout for your legs or even your full body would be squats. But
mhm.
if you had to choose just one movement for your upper body, I would choose pull-ups.
Yeah, no, I
I
agree.
definitely feel like I after doing those pull-ups, I definitely feel more of a change in my body than I do with these push-ups right now.
So I would like to ask, what is sort of the philosophy, the mindset behind it? So obviously, there's the physical attributes, there's the strength, there's the muscle, and all that.
Mm,
But I'm sure, like, to have these insane numbers and the
mm.
amount of discipline and mindset that it takes, what else are you learning about yourself, and what lessons are you pulling from creating these insane goals for yourself of reps of pull-ups or push-ups or squats?
Yeah, that's a great question. So definitely what you learn about yourself is that when you're doing these kind of things that are like really hard and pushing you out of your comfort zone, especially when you don't want to do them, even if they're easy, even if it's just like 5 push-ups a day, because it depends on the person, right? So
Mhm.
at one point in anyone's life, 5 push-ups is pretty hard. But whenever you get to that point of breaking and you're like, whoa, okay, this is the comfort zone has just ended. This is where I'm growing now. And so
Yes.
when you do it from then, it's like you really figure out who you are as a man because you know when you're going to stop and you know when you're going to keep going as well. So, but only you know that. So only you can really tell yourself the truth. So that's why I love to do these challenges with some of the boys, and I'm opening it to more women now. Is that these maximum pull-ups in 2 hours, maximum burpees in 2 hours, maximum push-ups in half an hour? It's like you really are in control because the pain is just the beginning. The pain is just you only figuring out that's where the warm-up is because the real work gets done in the last few minutes when there's fucking you're in your third wind and there's only 3 minutes left and there's no time for breaks and you got to keep going because everything up until that moment is just a warm up. And then from then on, that's when you actually grow the last 2 minutes, the last few
Yes.
seconds.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I've brought this quote up before, but I'm sure you've either heard it or you're definitely gonna resonate with it. Stoicism is a huge part of my life, Stoic philosophy,
Yes.
and I believe as Epictetus said, you must train the body rigorously in times of peace, so that it does
Yes.
not betray you in times of war.
I love
And
that, man.
yeah, and I see that in you is that you're saying that the mindset behind understanding that when it's hard, when you hit that
Mm.
third wind, when you want to give up, is
Yeah.
the only part that
Yep.
matters. That's when you're going to grow.
100%.
That's when you're going to get stronger, right? And
1000%.
and I'm sure I know for myself, it translates into other parts of life. It translates to me for
Oh, yeah.
writing, right? Writing
100%.
at first it just flows and this
Bro.
and that, and then when it starts to get hard, if you train yourself, if you get in the habit of like,
Mm.
okay, it's hard, I'm going to take a break, you're not going to grow, you're not going to expand that muscle, right? You're not
Yes.
going to get you're not your writing muscle's not going to get stronger. This applies to business, this applies to
Hmm.
relationships, this applies to
Oh, bro, tell me again
networking.
about relationships, yo. No,
Yeah,
for real. But if anything, writing is even harder because you can't see where it's coming from. You're just like staring there blankly. You don't know what the fuck's coming next. But at least the push-ups, you just gotta keep doing this
yes.
until the timer ends. But if you're writing, you're like, what is the next word? Like, what is gonna be the word that's gonna fit here perfectly? But when it does fit there perfectly, you feel so good. That dopamine rush is more powerful than any other push-up you could do because it's like last piece of the puzzle fit there perfectly, and you're like,
Mm.
wow, you just feel that emotion in your
Yeah,
heart.
bro. And one of my favorite feelings in the world is when, and
Mm.
I'm sure you can relate, when it's like, God, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to say this in this piece that I'm writing. And then
Yeah,
and you're ready to give up, and then all of a sudden it
Yeah,
comes to you, and you go,
yeah,
"Oh shit, that's good." Like I can't even believe
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
that came to me.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking of, dude, I mean, you're a great writer,
Thank you,
but
brother.
surprisingly,
Likewise.
you're a very good poet. So I want to talk with
Surprisingly,
you
what are you talking about, bro?
because it's rare to find good poets on X for sure. There's a lot of
Thank you,
people
bro.
that can write good articles, even
Hey,
be good
you only
storytellers.
recognize what you are in yourself, bro. I love your poems with your daughters, man. I fucking love them, bro.
Appreciate it, man. So since this is you are the guest here, we're going to talk about your poetry a little bit here. Let me know what your experience is like when you sit down to write poetry, and let me know the feeling of completing a really good poem and going back and being able to read it.
Oh man, that's a really good question. That's a great question. So I feel like every single time I sit down, it's always different. It has to be. I don't have a routine. Okay, no, that's a lie. I do have a routine. Depends on the poem, right? For example, the poems I write now on X, the acrostic
Yeah.
pyramid poems, I call them. Those ones are much more methodical because I just the first line that comes to me, and then I always go up, then down, then down, then down, then down, then down, and then I usually I almost never edit those. I use just whatever comes out, I just post it, and I think it's because of it's attached to X. I just want to pump it out.
Yeah.
So most of the times they're actually not that great, in my opinion. But sometimes I'm like,
I think they're wonderful, dude. They're definitely raw and they're vulnerable, but I think they're beautiful and they
thank you,
stand
bro.
out to me. Just aesthetically, they stand out. So I read
Yeah,
them
yeah.
every time, and
That's the
then
only reason why I do them because they look
yeah,
cool. Like you don't even have to read them. You're like, oh, this is interesting, kind of thing. I'm trying to grab people's attention, hook them in.
yes,
But yeah, with that one, it's much more methodical because I'm just like, oh, dun, dun, dun. And then like the last word is like, oh, that fits. Like I'm got a few rhymes in there, got a few analogies, a few metaphors. That's good. But so that one, I feel like I'm not. Rick Rubin would not be as proud of me as
I got you.
as he
I
would
got
be
you.
of me when I write my other poems. So I don't know if you definitely were in some of those poetry spaces when I would recite like my longer poems.
Yeah,
And for example, the one have you did I read you the one with the Ukraine one?
that's my favorite one, dude. That one
Okay.
literally got me in my feels. I was like
Thank you,
resisting
bro.
tearing up because my girlfriend was in the room.
Yeah, you gotta show her the softness in you, bro. That's why she's gonna connect with you more. So that one took me like a long time. Okay, maybe not long, maybe like 4 hours. And
Mm.
but I was when I write poems like that, I shut everything out. And that was when I was single though. Like now it's much harder to
Tell me
just
about it.
be present with just your words, right? And just shut
Yeah.
everything out and not
Yes.
eat and that kind of stuff. Like when I didn't really have a routine, I was living in my own little studio downtown, and there's like a bloody construction right outside my window. You hear people jackhammering and everything, and crane like picking up rocks and stuff. And I put on my earphones and I turn on noise cancelling mode, and I just like sit there, and I don't even, I'm just like writing on paper. That's my favorite way to
Mm.
to create is to write on paper, and it's all over the place. Like say the book is here. And then I'll write here, write a little note here, write a little note here, and then I think about it, write a little here, and then write here, and then I would try to transfer it onto the phone to make it look more concise and more like just orderly. And
Yeah.
then things would just piece together like perfect puzzles. I'm like, how the fuck did that even come up? And for example, some part I'll be looking at one part and I'll be like, and I'll be thinking about that over and over and like galaxies, suns and stars. And then I'll like something in my heart is just telling me to change the word to like galaxy. And I don't know why. But as soon as I changed one word, everything just flowed and it was like
Mm.
galaxies and frequencies and vibrations and all these kind of things just perfectly fit. I'm like, well, that is not me, man.
Yeah.
That I am just like a conduit. I'm just the channeler. But whatever's out there, that's the true essence. That's the true source. And I'm just drinking from that source and I'm spitting it back out on this page. But I do not deserve any credit from that. So that's why when I see some people they quote themselves when they post on X or just anything, they just quote themselves. I'm like, yo, come on, that's pretty narcissistic, man. Because you did not come up with that. Like you may have been connected to the source and it came out through you, but you're not the creator of that. You just connected to it, right? That's
Yeah,
what I
bro.
believe, anyways.
So you're right in the Laughing Stoic Buddha wheelhouse right now, man. Because this is like at its worst like a stoner thought, but I think it's actually a deeply spiritual thing.
Stoner
Of
thoughts are like the best thoughts, man. I feel
I,
like stoner, when you get stoned, you're just more connected to the universe, and you're just
I
more open. You're
I
more
agree.
receptive.
That conduit lubes up a little bit and allows everything to
Yeah.
flow a hell of a lot better. Yeah, I agree that it's one of the best feelings to just go, where the hell did that come from? Right. So
Yeah.
so the stoner thought is this, like as I go to speak, I remember realizing this. This was kind of the beginning of my like meditation spiritual journey, was I would
Mm,
started going, when I go to speak, I don't know
mm.
how I'm going to get to the end of this sentence.
Yeah.
I don't write it in my head and then speak
No.
it. It's
No.
all
No. No.
improv. It's all
Facts.
improv all the time, right?
Hmm.
And it's one of the things people can kind of just go, yeah, of course. What's the big deal? It's like, no, really pay attention to your
Hmm.
experience of speaking and notice, become self-aware of where the fuck are these words coming from, right? And if
Mm.
you can get more sensitive to that, then you can start to be more intentional with where are they coming from? Are they coming from a pure
Yes.
source, right? Are they coming from
Hmm.
a truer source? How much am I editing? How much am I
Mm.
am I am I constricting as it's coming through, right? And so a
Hmm.
big part of my spiritual practice and part of my creative practice is let me really pay attention as it's flowing through my fingers onto the page. Let me pay attention as I'm
Mm.
speaking and try to get to the feeling. I think feelings are more
Right.
fundamental than words, right? So what's the
Mm.
feeling? It's a big part of my brand on X. What's the feeling I'm trying to convey? And
Mm.
then I want to translate that feeling into the reader as they read it, right? And so
Mm.
it seems like that's something you definitely do. I don't know how like intentional or conscious you are of
Mm.
it, because
Mm.
what you write, particularly your poetry, gets people in their feels for sure,
Mm.
right? So I want to kind of pose that to you of like, I like to call it the muse. Like you were saying, it comes from the universe, it comes from the beyond, whatever.
Mm.
What is your relationship with the muse, with that other entity that is a creative source that you are in a relationship with, that you're a conduit for expressing? What
Mm.
are some of the things you try to do to strengthen that relationship with the muse? What do you do when you feel like your relationship with the muse is like not on great terms, like you're kind of in the
Yeah.
doghouse and you're trying
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you're trying to sweeten them up again, like, come on,
Yeah.
muse, come back in. I promise I'll be good to you this time. But
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about Maverick's relationship with the muse.
So for me, I'm so glad that you mentioned that because I feel like I don't have a powerful enough relationship with this muse, but because you asked me this question, I'm gonna be way more conscious of it from now on when I do my writing.
Hell
So
yeah.
thank first of all, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. And second of all, I want to say I feel most of the times I'm really connected to it. If like I want it, it comes kind of thing. I'm very lucky because I'm very inspired. And I think maybe it's because growing up, I was in a very feminine household. So in that sense, I'm very receptive and I'm very in tuned with intuition and my feelings and all that kind of thing. That's why I really see it as my superpower growing up. But if anything, I feel like I don't cultivate it enough. I need to like conscious now that consciously, I would love to meditate more. Definitely, I feel like that definitely will just help me connect more and just j- trusting whatever's in your mind and just regurgitating and not judging and be like, oh, is that right? Like just fucking write it out. Just let it
Yes.
out as fast as you can. And so a way to do that, shout out to Julia Cameron and
Mm.
J. Cole for recommending her book, The
Morning
Artist's Way.
pages. The artist way.
Yes,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yes, yeah. So for me, I'm bro, you drinking a coffee at like fucking 8 p.m., bro?
Bro,
Jesus
yes, I told
Christ,
you. We talked about this off mic,
bro,
bro.
you just get those fucking kidney stones out of there, bro. Shit.
I hope it's
All
helping. I hope it's helping.
right. Okay, so I was too present with that one, bro. so,
I love it.
so
That's what it's
okay,
about, bro.
so so what I feel like okay, so when it comes to the words, instead of morning pages, I really try to be conscious with my words. I changed that bit to like rising pages because I don't even do it in the morning anymore, anyways. But pretty much, I love that idea because that trains for the people that don't know that it trains you to just trust the intuition, just let it out and not to judge yourself. And then when you come to the creative process and you do want to write a poem, you feel like your feelings want you to express something, then it's so much easier because you're not judging yourself. You're being truly authentic. And I really believe that's true authenticity because you're just being truly yourself. You're not judging what's in your mind, like the words just coming out your mouth onto the paper or speaking out loud. And yeah, you're improvising pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful, dude. So you brought something up there that this is really the number one topic I want to talk with you about. I've heard you speak about her a little bit here and there on Spaces, but I want to get the full story. You said you grew up in a feminine household. Talk to me
Mhm.
about your grandma. Talk to me about your mom, your family, and what these matriarchs, what your family story is, and what it's meant to you, and has turned you into this very disciplined, self-aware, badass man that you are here today.
Fuck it. Bro, just take me out to dinner, bro.
This is what I
No,
do,
but
bro.
dude, thank you so much for the question, man, because that really brings out what I'm truly about. And these are the people in my life that make me so driven to do what I do every single day and to push myself to the limit. Because when I think of my mom, my grandma, my sister, my partner, and just all the women in my life, I just feel like this overwhelming urge to serve and to protect them and to provide. And because they've done for me, they've done all those things for me. They've served me. They're constantly serving me. They're constantly providing for me, constantly protecting me ever since I was a little kid. So I just want to give back, right? I feel like this overwhelming debt that I will never be able to repay for them, right? So going back to my parents and my grandma's backstory is I don't know exactly where my grandma was born, but my parents were born in Cambodia. And during the Khmer Rouge that happened from 1975 to 1979, my parents were around 8 and 11 years old. And so so for those that didn't know that during that war, like everyone knows about the Vietnam War, but not many people know that almost one-fifth of the entire population was culled and killed. Like all
Yeah.
the smart people was killed, all the people wearing glasses were killed, all the people that were rich were killed because they wanted to have equality.
Mm.
And so my grandpa was one of those men because he owned the only movie theater in the whole city, which I'm
Mm.
so proud of. I never got to meet him,
Yeah.
of course, but that was like a crazy synchronicity as well. It's like
Yeah.
I didn't even know that I wanted to be an actor. And then when I started to, it was only a few years prior to me getting into acting that I found out that my grandpa owned a freaking movie theater, the only one in the whole city.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, this is not a coincidence. Not a
Yeah.
coincidence. So he was taken away. So obviously my dad, he had six sisters and he was smack bang right in the middle. So he was brought up with a lot of feminine energy as well. And so I guess he brought that to teach me
Hmm.
because he didn't really have a strong fatherly figure. So he couldn't teach me the strong values of a man. And so my grandma pretty much, she was born in the year of the tiger. And they say the year of the tiger. This is her year actually. They say in
Yep.
the year of the tiger. Wait, no, it's not. I think
It's
it's the year
dragon. You're the
the
dragon.
dragon. Yeah.
Yeah. Coming
Yo, I'm
up. Yeah.
Chinese, fucking false Chinese guy, bro. Anyways, she she was born in the year tiger, and so they say that women that are born, and just probably people in general that are born in the year tiger, are very strong. So, and that makes so much sense. Like she raised seven children by herself, and she escaped to another country that she didn't even know existed. And
Wow.
now every single one of her children are thriving. They all have children of themselves. So she has grandchildren, so many, like dozens of grandchildren, and now great grandchildren as well. So my grandma is my rock. She's my everything. She's my world because I was he was living with me my entire life as well. So my dad took care of her when she got older. And
Hmm.
so she was always there to cut me fruit, force papaya down my throat, and like just pinch my ears all the time and just throw away my roller skates when I got those for my birthday. Like fuck and like everything. She just over babied me, right? But as a kid, you hate it. But now I'm as a kid, I used to be so upset that I was living with my grandma because I was like, oh, why does all the other cousins get to go out whenever they want and come home whenever they want? They don't have grandma waiting up till 4 a.m. in the morning just waiting for me to come home. But now I'm like, yo, fuck, I'm so grateful that I got to experience that. Like that's fucking love right there,
Yes.
unconditional love. Even though
Yes.
it's smothering love, like it's not healthy, it's too much of it, but that's definitely true love. And so that's my relationship with my grandma. She's my everything. And my mom, of course, she's like the birth giver, man. I call her the birth giver. And she was my best friend for the longest time and still is in many ways. I feel like I can tell her anything. And so my mom, my grandma, my sister, like they're everything to me. So I just wanna my mom is still working so hard to this day. She's working like 6 days a week, waking up at 4:30 in the morning, getting home at 2:45 p.m. So it's just like I just want to at least maybe not even retire her. Obviously, one day that's the goal. But even now, I just want her to stop working overtime on
Yeah.
Saturdays. Like that's just some small thing that I want to give to her. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the relationship I have with my mom and my grandma.
That's beautiful, man. I mean, I'm seeing the whole picture here now because at face value, it's like, how is this guy this insane doing 20,000 pull-ups, and working so damn hard and being an actor, doing stunts and stuff in Hollywood, and can be so in touch with his feminine side, writing beautiful poetry and getting into his feels and all that. I'm getting a
Mm,
much bigger picture of, I think, like you said, growing up in a feminine household, you got to experience, the word that kept coming to mind as you were talking about your grandma in particular is unconditional love. You
mm.
felt real, true, unconditional love
Oh
as a
yeah.
child. And I think that foundation has stayed inside of you and will live inside of you for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah. 100%, man. Like I'm very blessed because my family is very well kept together and they're just very glued together. Not just my immediate family with my sister, my dad, my mom, my grandma, but also my cousins, because every single Christmas we'll go to camping, like in Australia and
Mm.
Sydney, and we'll literally wake up. Open up our tent, you see like kangaroos chucking a shit on the floor right in front of your face. We'll go fishing in the morning while the sun's rising, and then we'll swim during the day, have a barbecue with the fish that we caught. It's just that was my life growing up, and yeah, it's just I feel like I had such a rich childhood, and although our parents were nowhere near rich, and we still are nowhere near from well off or anything, we're definitely working class, but we weren't poor as well. But my dad, he got me everything I ever wanted. He got me every single PlayStation 1, 2, 3, Game Boy Color, Game Boy SP, like GameCube. He just gave me every single opportunity, basketball, soccer, softball. I was just the golden child for a very long time because I was very grateful because, in Chinese culture, the firstborn boy is
Yeah.
just treated like a prince.
Hmm.
So I was the firstborn boy out of all the cousins on my dad's side in Australia. So I was just treated like a prince. And it was a great life. But like, looking back now, it's like, fuck, I was babied so much. And so it took me a long time to develop discipline. And it hasn't been until couple of years ago when I started this journey of discipline of where like really forcing myself out of my comfort zone because I've just been so comfortable my whole life. So
Yeah.
that's something that I've been working on.
So speaking of discipline and the positive feminine energy, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna take it to a little bit of a weird place, but I think this will be very helpful for a lot
That's
of
up
our
my alley,
listeners.
bro.
I think this will be something very actionable for a lot of our listeners. Guys can be great at working out, showing up to the gym every single day. They can be disciplined when it comes to business and put in the work, put in 16-hour days. But a lot of guys have trouble with porn. It's a
Yes.
very hard thing to
Yes.
quit, very hard thing to stay away from. I've got a
Right.
long, complicated history with it. I've quit for years and gone back on. I'm on a good run right now. Since I started
Yes.
dating my girlfriend, actually, it's been
That
6
always
months.
helps. That always
It
helps.
helps a lot because you go, I got a fucking prettier, sexier
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
here, all natural. What the hell am I going to my screen
Exactly.
for? It's very
Exactly.
helpful. But so I've been on a good run for about half a year now. Talk to me about your history and your
Mm.
relationship with porn. And I know that you quit. I hope that you're still on the sober when it comes to porn,
Yeah.
and how that has contrasted to where you're at now.
So it's so good that you mentioned that because literally 1 minute before this podcast, my girlfriend was showing me the 6 stages of change. And I'm not sure if you know about it, but I just found out about it today, and I was like, the first stage was pre-contemplation, where you don't even know that you have a problem, kind of thing, because
Hmm.
you see the benefits way outweigh the cons. And then there's contemplation when you're kind of like, maybe there's something to this. Maybe should change. And then I'm not sure. I forgot the name of the next one. What was it again?
No, I don't know. I've heard of it, but I don't know
Okay.
the 6 steps memorized. So
Okay. So the third one is like you're starting to be like, oh shit, okay, maybe I do need to change. And then
Mhm.
the fourth level is action. And that's when you're actually starting to change. The fifth level is maintain, where you've been building momentum, it gets easier and easier. And the
Mhm.
sixth level is relapse or lapse. So
Yes.
relapse is like when you completely go back and you freaking start wanking again. But lapse is just when you kind of falter a bit and you kind of maybe you just watch it, but you don't actually jerk off.
Yeah.
So those are the six stages. So I guess when one teaches, two learn. I love that. I love that.
Yes.
So so for me, what was the question again?
So your relationship with porn. So when did you hit the second stage? We'll say when you started to realize that it was a problem and something that you would benefit from quitting.
Yeah, so second stage, I probably realized that, hmm, probably on my first relationship when it was like 2016. So I was around 23, so around
Okay.
7 years ago. And that's when I had my first ever serious relationship. And I realized that it was it was hindering my progress and my growth with my girlfriend at the time because she was getting upset about it. I was like, why are you getting upset? Everyone watches this shit. It's like normal kind of thing. So
Hmm.
that was when I was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe there is a problem. Like she's upset and like it's kind of making the relationship kind of crumble a bit. So that's probably when I realized that it was a problem.
Okay. And what was your relationship with starting the action side of things, trying to quit? Was it
Mm.
cold turkey and done for good, or did you have a lot of relapses along the way?
So, bro, there was infinite relapses, man. Infinite plus one relapses, man. So there was, and I feel like there's stages to porn too, right? Because there's been levels where I'll be just watching like the UGs, the spank bang, and all that kind of shit, and I'll be watching all that kind of stuff. But then I'll I'll kind of relapse and watch that stuff again. But then once I completely quit all that kind of stuff, I would still relapse in softcore porn, where it was
Hmm.
like Instagram model pictures and all that kind of stuff, and that's when I realized that I still had this addiction, that I was still relapsing. That although it wasn't hardcore porn where there was a video and it was like penetration, all that kind of stuff, I was still getting that dopamine fix from seeing these big booties on Instagram.
Yeah.
If anything, these girls are way hotter than the ones
Yeah.
on Spank Bang and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I realized that I still got a problem. Like I had that. The last time I had that was probably mid last year when I was still watching looking at the pictures on Instagram. But the last time that I watched the actual porn on what's it called, like the actual videos and stuff, that's that was end of 2021.
Oh wow,
So
that's a
I've
good
actually
run.
got a picture. I actually got a picture because I knew for a fact that it was going to be my last time. And that was when I was building the idea that I'm a man of my word and all this kind of stuff.
Mm.
So I had the lotion ready. I had the candle set up. I had the Himalayan salt lamp there. I had the tissues there ready.
You're
And
so romantic, bro. You're so
yeah, I had
romantic.
the frequencies. I had the frequencies going with myself. I had to have this last date with myself, man. I had to go out with a bang, go out with a spank bang, bro. And so
Yes,
I actually have a picture in my hidden folder of like the last scene that I took a picture, a screenshot of. But
that's
I probably
hilarious.
won't show that. But I do. I just wanted to remind myself that this is going to be the last time. Also, because me and my girlfriend at the time, we were kind of going through a rough patch as well, and she was upset that we weren't having the best, not the best sex, but like I just didn't want to really do it with her, and I think it's because at that point I was already getting really uh, what's it called, unattracted to her because of many things that I won't go into, but
Hmm.
because of that, she thought that, oh, why are you watching? Why did you start watching porn again? Because that was the first time I relapsed in a long time. And she's
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, you're just gonna watch it again after we break up, anyways. And I was like, nah, trust me, I won't. I promise. And the old me would have broken that promise, and I
Mm.
would have ended up doing it. But like, I was like, nah, I told you straight up, this is gonna be the last time. Even if we break up, which we did, I'm still gonna keep that word. And to this day, pat myself on the back. Like
Good for you, bro.
I still have not looked up anything. So
Let's go.
I think it's at the point where it's never gonna happen again. But there's some throughout the moments, there's time where like sometimes you get the temptation and you're like,
Mm.
fuck, especially if you're home alone, and you sometimes you just need to fall asleep. You know
Oh
that
yeah,
this will help you fall asleep.
better than melatonin for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Just drain yourself. Just unload all the buckets, yeah. But yeah, now it's not even a question anymore. It's completely out of my consciousness.
Wow, good for you, man. So a couple things. I really want to get into you talking about your relationship with telling the truth and keeping your word. That's something you've brought up a few times. It feels really powerful. I've gone through a similar journey. So I want to get
Yes.
into that, but I just want to underline for anybody who's listening to this that may be going through the struggle of relapses and all that.
Yes.
So we're talking since 2021, you've been porn free, video porn free.
Yes.
How do you see it different for yourself, your psychology, spiritually? Have you been able to show up better in your relationships since quitting porn?
Dude, it's literally game changer. You just elevate so much higher. You feel so much lighter. You feel more of a man. You
Yes.
feel way more drive, and you just look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, that's one sexy motherfucker. That's a sexy cunt right there. Like you just feel proud of yourself because you know that you overrid this addiction, this leech that's stuck on your brain, stuck on your dick. It's like
Hmm.
so bad for you because
Yes.
you look at the world so differently when you're attached to porn and you're not yourself because that's not how people usually have sex. And then you feel like you have to keep getting worse. And then in that way, that's in when you watch porn, you get out of your comfort zone in a different way, in the wrong way, in the opposite
Mhm.
direction. You go to a negative spiral. It's like first you start with just choking, and then you get to like threesomes, and then it has to be this type of girl, it has to be from this ethnicity with this amount exact size boobs, and it's like it even gets even worse when it gets like the orgies, and then we're not even gonna talk about like bestiality and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Luckily, I never got to that level, but I
Like,
can imagine that's how it happens. It's just like
yeah, you got to
gateway
keep
drug,
up,
right?
up, up. Yeah, you got to keep upping the ante. Gateway drug, exactly.
Exactly,
It's because it
exactly.
stops working, and you got to double the dose, and you got to double the dose, and
Exactly.
yeah.
And that is no good for your relationship because your relationship is just like now I'm happy with just vanilla, man. That's all I'm about, bro. But yeah, it's done wonders for me in my relationship now. Like I'm way more and if anything, if you think about a porn is you're pretty much cucking yourself. You're watching unless you're watching POV, even when you're watching POV, you're looking at someone else's dick.
Yep.
You're not looking at your own dick.
Yeah.
And so even then, like you're being cucked 20 like every single time you watch it. So deep down in your subconscious mind, you don't think about this consciously, but subconsciously, you're a little bitch
Yep.
because you're not going
100%,
out
bro.
there and getting it for yourself,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
Absolutely, man.
that's another thing that I really base everything. Mainly my whole life is based around the idea of the subconscious mind and how we're always absorbing things, who we're talking to, the things we listen to, the even if a song is playing in the background, that shit's going into your brain. If anything, it's even worse because you're not even aware that it's there. So it slips in through the back door.
Yeah, dude, it's something I talk about a lot. What you're just saying there. I normally say keep a clean mental diet, and you just gave me
Yes.
a new term, a new spin on it. Keep a clean subconscious diet as well.
Yes.
Pay attention to
Yes.
all the inputs, all the a very basic example is like if your room is messy, if you got
Mm.
shit all over the place, subconsciously you're like, I'm okay with chaos.
Yep.
Right. I'm okay with messiness and unorderliness. Right. And so even though you can bullshit yourself and say like, well, I'm going to clean it up one day. I'm going to keep shit orderly. But
Mhm.
the signal you're sending to your subconscious mind is no, chaos is fine.
Yep.
Messiness is
This is
fine.
my normal. This is my my baseline kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then that's a very tame version. Porn is an
Yeah.
extreme version of that. Of hey, it's
Yeah.
okay to do these insane, violent, fucking demeaning acts to a woman
Hmm.
because I watch it all day, every day. And you can
Yeah.
again, you can bullshit yourself consciously and go, well, I understand. I can put it in this box and I can put this in another box. But
Mm.
I think there's no free lunch, man. That
No,
subconscious diet is being tainted. It's junk food for your
exactly.
subconscious mind. And so that's
Thousand
a really
percent.
cool, yeah, it's a really cool mindset and something that we all need to pay attention to, be aware of. I
Hmm.
really want to dive into because I have a similar track record, man. I was not that great with the truth early on in my adulthood. I
Hmm.
would lie, I would hide things, and I paid the consequences for it,
Hmm.
personally in my relationships and all that. And it was like an alcoholic having to hit rock bottom. I got to the point where I had hit rock bottom, and I said,
Hmm.
"That's it, man. Enough's enough. I'm telling the truth, to the people in my life. I'm telling
Hmm.
the truth to myself, and it, obviously completely changed my life. It turned everything around." Um,
Yes.
it changed my procrastination, right? Like
Yes.
being honest with myself, all the things that I was avoiding. I say this often. It's actually really a big part of my brand, right? Already on X, it's
I love it.
if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it,
Hmm.
you're betraying yourself, and you
Hmm.
can no longer trust yourself. That's the
Exactly.
worst fucking relationship you can have with your word,
Yes.
is not being able to trust your own word. So
Yes.
I really try to live by, if I say I'm going to do something, I fucking do it for myself
Exactly.
first and foremost, because I need to be able
Exactly.
to trust my own word. It sounds like you've had a very similar journey. So let me
Hmm.
know about the times when you had a very messy, complicated, bad relationship with your
Hmm.
own word and what you would promise yourself,
Hmm.
and how you've gotten to the point to today where you can just spill out, I'm going to do 20,000 pull-ups before the end of the
Hmm.
year. And you go,
And
shit,
regret it.
I promised myself this, I'm going to fucking get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning. Where, um, what was your experience of not being able to trust your own word?
So I realized that it all started with my dad. And I don't know exactly why he's like that still. Maybe I should ask him, but it might trigger him. But I think he's much better now. But I realized that why it had to happen exactly the way it did, because he used to lie to me about the smallest things. He wouldn't
Mhm.
keep his word, even if he was like, "Hey, I'll be there in 10 minutes," and then he'll be there in like 20 minutes. Sometimes he'll be there an hour, and like shit, that like when you're a little kid and you're waiting for your dad to pick you up, it's like the worst thing. You feel abandoned. You feel
Yeah.
like, "Gee, is this guy coming for real, or is he just what's he doing?" Kind of thing. And you
That
always
that one
that is
hour
always going in
feels
your
like
mind.
days, right? That 1 hour is
Exactly.
just, oh my God, is he ever coming? Yes.
Exactly. And I remember this one time specifically, he's like, okay, we're just going to stop by my friend's house and I'm just going to be there for like 10 minutes. And so I was like, okay, I'll wait in the car. So I waited in the car. It was like nighttime. And I think I was like around like 11 years old or something. And he went inside, 10 minutes passed. I was like, okay, yeah, cool, cool, cool. And then half an hour passed. I was like, fuck, okay, he's probably going to be back in like, not 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes passed again. And then an hour and a half, I was like, okay, I'm definitely going in. And so I was like so tired, I was sleepy and everything. I remember being so angry. This is still like a core memory. I remember like barging into a room, knocking on the door, and then he opens the door, and he like it's like he forgot I was there. He was so surprised he saw me. I was like, what the fuck? So I walked in and I used the toilet and I just sat there like fucking pissed off, like just sitting there as a like 11-year-old, like fucking like kicking my legs because my legs couldn't touch the floor and shit. I was just so pissed off, man. And so like little things like that would happen every single day. It was so normal. Like he would say he would buy me something and then he wouldn't buy it, or like just little things like that. And so I subconsciously took on those things because I thought it was okay. This is normal. Like everyone does it. My dad does it.
Mm.
So I used to lie to everyone, including myself. And I didn't realize until maybe like 5, 6, 7 years ago that it affected everything in my life. For example, I would say I would wake up at 4 a.m. because that's when I started to get into this self-development journey. I'm like, I'm going to wake up 4 a.m. tomorrow. And then 7 a.m. comes around, 11 a.m. comes across, and then I'm like, oh, damn. And I just feel shit about myself because I proved to myself that I'm a liar again. It just keeps going. And yeah, I would steal money from like my parents' cash registers and stuff, and I'll tell them like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go to go chuck a shit. Like I literally told my parents at their business that I was gonna go chuck a shit, like go to the toilet, and then do number two. And that I bought a train ticket to go to the city, which was like half an hour away, and then
Oh
I'll play
shit.
this video game. Like I don't know if you know Maximum Tune, and I'll play this video game. It's like a car racing game that you got to put a lot of
Okay.
money into level up your car. I'll play for like a whole hour, and then I'll take a ticket and I'll come all the way back to the business. So that's like 2 hours, and then I walk back into the shop. I'm like, oh, my stomach hurts so much.
Oh
Like that
my
was
god.
crazy. Like that was so crazy. And then it's funny because I have a client right now that I'm working with, and I told him, well, one of the exercises that I helped him with was I said, yo, dude, you need to tell your mum the truth about one of the things that you've been hiding from her ever since you were a kid. And so what I love about being a coach is that you grow with your clients. And so the homework that I give to my clients, I do for myself as well. So
Beautiful.
so he ended up doing that with his mum, and he told a story that he's been keeping it for like 15 years. And I told my parents about that exact story that I just told you. And then I was like, "Did you
Nice.
know? Like, did you know that I did that? Did you know that I stole money from the cash register?" And they both were so clueless. They're like, "What?" Like, we had no idea. Anyways,
Wow.
now they know that I owe them like cash. So I was gonna
With
give them money.
interest.
Yeah, I was gonna give them money just to be like, oh yeah, I'm a good son. But now they know that it's just because I owe them money.
Cleaning up that karmic debt, man. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
beautiful.
that's it's like from the longest time I've realized I've been a liar, but it wasn't until a few years ago when I was like, okay, it's time to be a man on my word. I really want to have the power to speak things into existence, and I can't speak things into existence if my words carry no weight. So I realized that if I want to just say things and something comes out, I have to believe that it's possible, that everything I say is true, right?
Yes.
So now it's like every time I say something, I'm like, ah, fuck, why did I say that? Like, because I got a big mouth. I got a fucking big mouth, right? I just don't shut up. My girlfriend tells me that all the time, but in a nicer way.
Yeah.
But so now I gotta be really wary of the words I speak because the words are so powerful that it it's like be careful what you wish for kind of thing, right? Because it
Yeah.
manifests so quickly as well. So that's why now I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't say I'm going to do 100 push-ups every day. Like, be very conscious. Like, if I want to train legs, I should do legs every day, not do push-ups. Like, I already said I was going to do it for at least the first 3 months. So now I'm kind of going through. At least I didn't say I was going to do 20,000, right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting better, slowly getting better.
Yeah, it's so cool, bro. I don't. I'm sure you're familiar with Jordan Peterson. He talks about some of his rules for life are tell the truth or at least don't
Yes,
lie. That's one of the top rules. It's
yes.
something I tell myself daily. And
Hmm.
he talked about a time when he was a young man when he committed to himself to only speak the truth, right, and to
Yes.
consciously not lie. And his experience was he started talking 10% of what he had said before, right?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
he expresses this thing. I haven't totally taken on that challenge, because to be honest, it'd be tough to do in my work environment. Like, and I tell the truth at work, but it's like you got to protect people. You got to protect people's egos and
Yeah, yeah,
reputations and
yeah,
shit like that.
yeah, yeah.
But the thing that he said, which I really resonate with, is he goes, "You realize if when you just speak the truth, that you're like 90% hot air, right?" And this is his personal
Mm.
experience. Is he just realized it was so much of what he was saying was fluff, it was
Mm.
unnecessary, and it was half truths, right? It wasn't full
Mm.
truths. And this is actually something I was talking with Ego. I'm sure you've come across him on X. I did his podcast last week.
Mhm.
And another Jordan Peterson quote is, nobody actually acts evil knowingly. What they
Mm.
do is they compromise their absolute highest truth for a lesser truth, right?
Mm.
They know the absolute, what their best self, most actualized self, what they would say and what actions they would take, but they compromise for something less than that. And then they bullshit and justify why they, spoke something, why they chose something less, why they took a lesser action, or
Mm.
why they spoke something that was less than their absolute best, right? And
Mm.
so that's, I want to just because kind of in line with exactly what you're talking about is
Mm.
what I'm trying to do personally is tap into like what is my highest, most ideal self?
Mm.
What would he say?
Yes.
How would he show up for this podcast today? How would he show up for his time with his daughters, for his time with his friends or his girlfriends? How would he
Mm.
show up every time that he sits down to write? What would he
Yes.
say? What would he speak?
Yes.
And tuning into that, that's kind of like the next level. That's like telling the truth on steroids, right? It's like
Yeah.
really tuning into that. And then what you'll catch in time is, oh wow, like what I sort of thought was the truth at closer examination is a lesser. It's true, but it's not the
Mm.
absolute highest expression of myself. And so that's
Hmm.
the journey that I've really been on for like the last year. It sounds like you're on a very similar journey yourself, and you're
Hmm.
like all of us. We're learning along the way, and we do things like
100%.
overcommit. We overcommit,
Yes.
or we say something. Oh fuck, why the hell did I say
Yes.
that? But I wanted to commend you too on because you're doing something that almost nobody else is doing. Is when they do overcommit, you go, well, fuck, I have to pay the consequences and I have
Mm.
to take responsibility
Yes.
because I am a man of my word. And then hopefully with time, you can refine it down to where you are committing to things that actually are more aligned with that holistic vision of yourself. Any thoughts on that? I'd love
Exactly.
to hear from you, man.
Yeah, man. Before we go to that, it's like what you said about what Jordan Peterson said. I think it reminds me of the idea that although telling the truth is noble, but that doesn't mean you should be hurting everyone's feelings all the time. Like,
Yes,
doesn't
yes.
mean sometimes the truth doesn't need to be spoken.
Hmm.
Like, sometimes you don't have to say, "Oh yeah, you're a cunt," even though it's true. Like
You feel
sometimes.
it at your core. Yes.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've been learning as well because I was always, for the longest time, I was always like a really big doormat and I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't have a backbone. But before, like a year ago, I would stand up too much. But
Hmm.
now it's like you gotta pick your battles, kind of thing. And like
Yeah.
sometimes it's just
You over adjust, and then you kind of find that
exactly that's how you
to
find that balance, right?
to be Buddhist to find that middle way, right? Yeah.
Yes, the woo
Yeah.
woo way always. Man.
Yeah.
Shout out Lao Tzu.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. So
So
we're gonna get into a little bit of the Eastern philosophy, but just real
yes,
quick, I want to swing to the West and get into a little bit of Western philosophy, Stoicism.
yes, yes, sir.
Very. This is something I ask all of my guests. I'm very interested to see your answer. I know it's going to be fire. So I'm going to ask you to do a little mental exercise, mental
Mhm.
emotional exercise with me. So I want you to imagine that you are 105 years old and you're laying on your deathbed, proverbial deathbed. And you have people around you, you have your loved ones, maybe some that you know now, maybe some in the future, children, whatever, friends.
Mm.
And you're looking back over your life, over your 105-year life. What kind of a life will you hope you're looking back on? What kind of a life will you have hoped you will have lived that you feel satisfied and you have minimized regret and you can go in the most peace possible?
Mm. So I love that question. And I was watching your podcast. I forgot with who it was, but I remember you asking this question. I was like, oh, I need to prepare for this question. But then I forgot about it, so I fucked up anyways. Anyways, I'm here present right
Perfect.
now.
Yes.
And so I would like to say I would like to kind of connect it to what you said earlier. It's like what would the highest version of myself do in this position? And like most people they say, what would Jesus do? And for me, I would say right now it's like, yeah, what would the highest version of myself do? If I could ask myself that every single time I'm about to make a decision, or
Yes.
every single time I'm about to do an action or something like that, then I feel like that's a very, you always know the answer. That's
Yes.
the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah.
Because most of, like, I would say 99%, unless you're like a retard, okay, I'm not PC, but like, unless you're a retard, you
Yes.
know that watching that porn is not going to help. You know that pulling your dick out and fucking just jizzing on a screen is not
That is
going to
not
help.
anybody's highest version of themselves.
No, no. You know that you shouldn't like inhale that sugar, but
Yes.
we still do it anyways, right? But if you ask yourself that question every single time you're about to make a decision, at least you know that you're making a decision because you're still, and you have to be true to yourself. Like, okay, I'm about to still stay in this lower version of myself. You kind
Yeah,
of thing,
exactly.
I think that would be a great thing if I from now on, like, thank you. Because that idea has been circling around my mind all the time, but I don't apply it, right? We all
Mm,
know that we should ask ourselves that question and then apply it. But now that that awareness is again, I'm gonna do it again. And I already forgot what you told me to do last
I
time.
see. I see where you're
I have
going
to
with this,
rewatch
man.
this.
Yeah, the
Anyways,
on the deathbed, and you're looking back. So I hear definitely in your answer, you want to be able to have many examples of you asking yourself, "What would the highest version of myself do?" and doing it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that and also the idea that I wanted to know that every single person I come in contact with, every single animal, every single being, every time I come into contact with myself, it's I spread that love. I spread that unconditional love, even if it's hard, especially when it's hard, because we're talking about comfort zones and relationships. And that's the main place when you grow. When you're in that challenging state and all you want to do is scream back at that person that's cutting you off in traffic, that's when that's when the warm-up has gotten to the point and you're
Yes.
doing those real reps. You're doing those last 2 minutes of push-ups. That's when you got to really be present. And that's when it's the hardest. And that's why when it's the hardest, that's when you grow. So for me, again, to answer that question, is just want to it's a very simple answer, but I think life is really simple, but we make it hard, is we just want to bring love to every single interaction that we come into contact with, right? We just want
Yes.
to spread love and positivity. We want to be loved, we want to love, and we just want to live our best life. We want to do what we were put on this earth to do, and everyone has to figure out for themselves. And it's always adapting as well. It's always changing. Today, it could be for me, it could be doing as many push-ups as I could. Tomorrow, it could be loving my partner. The next day, it could be calling my grandma. But we always know exactly what we need to do in every single moment. So
Yeah.
I think just being true to ourselves
I
at the
love
end
that.
of the day.
It's a beautiful analogy. Bring it back to the beginning of the podcast of the warm up push-ups don't matter. It's when it gets hard. It's
Mhm.
those last 30 seconds. That's
Mhm.
when you grow. That's when you get stronger. Building your love muscle. Like again, going to the end, 100 years old on your deathbed and looking back over, did I consistently work my love muscle when it was hard? When I was in those last couple of reps, when I wanted to blow up and get nasty or get bitter or get resentful, but I managed to lean into the love, you know, a little bit more, and like
Mhm.
everything, it's gonna be trial and error. You're gonna fail sometimes. You're gonna learn lessons
Mhm.
from that. That's
Mhm.
actually really helpful for me, dude. That's something I'm gonna take away from this conversation is like using that sort of as a North Star of like
Mhm.
leaning into that love more, particularly during the hard reps, during the
Oh man,
times when you want to give
it's
up.
so much easier said than done. But
Yes.
the more you speak about it, the more it's easier because you're the more you speak, especially if you believe that you're a man of your word, the more you speak of it, the more you got to practice what you preach, right? So you can't just talk about it, but you got to be about it. And so
Yes.
you're helping me by asking me these questions because I'm able to shed a light more. And next time that something that does happen, which it's inevitable, by the way, that I'm gonna be more present and I'm gonna be able to be like
Hmm. That's it, man. It was
I love you. Like that's not easy, man. But yeah, breathing I feel like is a cure for so many things. Just breathing.
Agree, man. Yeah, I often will say breathing is the answer to everything. If you can't figure it out, fucking you will
Hmm.
not do any wrong by taking a deep breath. It's not gonna make it worse.
Facts.
Yes.
Facts. A billion percent.
100%, man. 100%, man. So, okay, so we touched on the Western side of thing. I've been using this lately as a little transition question to lean into the Eastern side. Um, I'm going to talk about the Matrix. So,
Oh yeah.
everybody everybody has a different sort of take and definition of the Matrix. I definitely have one. But I'm gonna let you. It's gonna be open ended, and the question is this: I'm sure I see that you're a very realized, awake, contemplative guy. I'm sure at some moment in your life, you had a moment of seeing through the matrix, a moment of being in it,
Yeah, yeah.
being in the matrix, being a NPC, being a whatever, to whatever extent. And then all of a sudden you went, "Oh shit, I'm in a matrix." And you
Mhm.
saw it from the outside for the first time.
Mhm.
What story or what moment comes to mind of one of the first times you saw through the Matrix?
Oh man. Yo, that's a great. I love this question, man, because there's been multiple times, but I'll tell you the first time where it was like, holy crap, there's definitely something here. But I'll tell you the time where it was like, holy shit,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like,
the one. That's the
yeah,
one I want.
yeah, that was what the fuck, yeah. Like, you want to go straight to that one?
Yeah, well, I want to hear that one, man, because you
Okay.
got me sold. You got me hooked with that facial expression, bro.
Okay, so this is a story that I actually just retold my this story to my girlfriend like 2 days ago. But it was pretty much the first time that I broke through with DMT.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Yeah. Have you tried it?
I have actually. I've done DMT. I've
Oh
not done
yeah.
ayahuasca. Yes. Okay. Cool, man.
Oh,
You're in the
I'm
right
down for
place,
that too.
bro. Yes.
Yes, I'm down for the ayahuasca too, bro. But maybe after we finish the recording, you could tell me your DMT because I want to hear that, bro.
Right
So
on.
okay, so this was 2018, and this was right after my rock bottom, which is not a coincidence. No fucking
Yes.
way. It's like for the people that have never tried DMT, I'm telling you right now, you don't do DMT, bro. DMT does you. You don't
100%.
choose when to do DMT.
You're a passenger, bro.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly, exactly. You don't quote yourself. DMT quotes you, man. So what happened?
I gotta write that
28.
down, bro. That is going on the post. You don't quote DMT. DMT quotes you.
Oh man. So, so 2018. This is kind of connected to my. I'm not sure if you read my pinned tweet, but that was
Yes.
kind of I think that was right before the pinned tweet. But that was when I was going through the depression and everything. I had
Mhm.
lost vision in my left eye, went blind and everything. And then I dropped the knife on my leg, was paralyzed, all this kind of stuff just bombarding me from all angles like a fucking bukkake.
Yes.
but but I remember I had been researching DMT for like at least a year, almost 2 years already. And it's because I had that first spiritual awakening where I was like, oh shit, this is Matrix for sure, kind of thing. That's when I started to read up more on DMT. But I did a solid 2 years before DMT chose to come into my life. And so I learned everything about it. And I was very careful because I was like, okay, this is definitely going to change my life forever. And it's like I already know, like you could have a theory of what's going to happen already.
Yeah.
You know mathematically how it's going to happen, but not until you experience that shit. Like that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
So, so what happened was I booked a beach house for my friends, and what something I love is I love to have. I'm a social butterfly, right? I love to have my best friends from this group, my best friends from this group, this group, and they all come together, and they're all like Ninja Turtles with the Power Rangers together. They're like best friends, and so
Yes.
we pretty much had a drug fest. We pretty much had a drug. We had every single fucking drug there except for like heroin and ice.
Uh-huh.
And my idea was to ask who wanted to do DMT, and my goal. So there was probably like 20 people there from all walks of life. And my goal was to have everyone in the room with me while I broke through. So that was
Mhm.
my idea, right? And you're already thinking like that's a fucking stupid idea. But my friend, so there was five of us that wanted to do it, and one of them had already done it. He's like, dude, don't fucking do that, bro. That's the worst idea ever. Do not do that. And then I was like, okay, I trust you. You've tried it before, so I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna heed your advice. And so we ended up only having five people in the room.
Mm.
So everyone else was partying, doing all the other drugs in the world, and I'm in this room with five other guys that were planning to do it. And I remember what happened at first was my friend did it because he was the first one to do it. He was the one that told me not to do it with everyone, and he did it. He came out. He was like, "Whoa, like that's crazy! Like that was so good." And I was like, "Okay, cool. That's interesting. Like reaction. Like, I'm excited to do this now." So for me, this time I was like, "Holy shit! Okay, like I've been doing the research. I gotta have some weed at the top, sandwich it with the DMT in the middle, and then I gotta smoke it through the bong, and then I smoke it, and then after the first one, I was like, whoa,
Oh
like
yeah.
this is crazy already. Like my pupil was dilated, fuck, everything looked like Simpsons and shit. And
Hmm.
then at that moment, I caught myself like, yo, remember why
There's
you're doing
work
this.
to be done.
Exactly.
Yes.
Remember your purpose. Your purpose is to break through. You're not here to fuck around. You're here to fucking experience the universe.
Yes.
So I was like, okay. I'm back on my mission. And then they fill it up again, sandwich the DMT, and I smoke it again. And at that point, everything was like kind of spinning like crazy already. And then I was like, okay, I'm still here. So the job's not done. Kobe mentality, bro. Job's not done, bro. And then
Yes.
that's when my arms was floppy as like I literally could not even move my hands. Nothing. All I could do was I couldn't even talk, but I could only breathe. But when I looked at my friend in the eye, I was like I was like, you could tell that my eyes were like, do it, last one. But I couldn't speak. I was just like, and so they fill it up again, and then they hold the bong to me. They hold the
Uh-huh.
bong to my mouth, and I can't fucking move. I'm just like, and then as that happens, my eyes are like just like freaking diluted fuck, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gone.
Mhm.
And I was just like,
Mhm. Yep. Night night.
I was fucking gone for like a solid. I was gone for 15 eternities, bro. But apparently, it was only 15 minutes. I actually had the whole thing recorded on voice recording. I wish I recorded like
The
video, bro.
video, yeah.
So I'm gonna tell my son that's how you should do it. But no, so when I came back, pretty much I came back and I was like, oh shit, like what the fuck? What, what the fuck? And I was just like laughing like, wait, wait, wait. Oh shit. Oh shit. What the fuck? Like I was just so mind blown. I was like, there's Brendon Shaw. Bro. And everyone's like, holy shit, that guy broke through.
Yes.
That guy just got a little high. That guy broke through.
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah.
get that guy got. And I was just like, bro, like Buddha's right, yo. Like
Mm.
Jesus is right. It's all fucking yin yang's right, man. I'm telling you. Fucking Siddhartha, he knows his shit, bro. Like
Yep.
that's how
Yeah,
I
bro.
felt. And I was like, the fuck is this shit, man? Like, what the fuck? Bro, what the fuck? Like for real,
Yeah.
man? Like, I was like, man, fucking this shit. Why I don't need that shit, bro? I was just like so mind blown. And like you already know that that was the idea that you're going to have, but not until you fucking do that shit when you're like, okay, that's real shit. Like that's not a theory, bro. That's fucking real, bro. Everything that they said is fucking true, man. Like quantum mechanics, quantum physics, fucking Jeet Kune Do, fucking Ayurveda. That's all fucking real, bro. Like, like,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
that was my first experience of me, like getting outside of the matrix and realizing I was in the matrix. Like the real, like before that, I'd had kind of like, yeah, we're in the matrix for sure. But then after that, I was like, no, we are in the fucking matrix, bro.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt, you
Yeah,
have firsthand experience.
yeah, that was through experience. It wasn't like, yeah, it wasn't like theory, man. It wasn't graphs. It wasn't, yeah, no.
That was
It was
great, bro. I gotta commend you just at a very practical podcasting level. That was some of the most best body acting, facial expression. I
Thank you,
was
bro.
there.
Thank you.
I was
Thank you.
there with you the whole way
I've had
through.
practice, bro.
It shows, bro. I felt like I was in the room as soon as you came down from DMT and came back. I was like, yes, I see it in your eyes, bro. You just saw through the fucking matrix. You just saw the Holy Grail.
Yeah, bro.
And you're
I
back in.
fucking even telling that story, it's like it's still like theoretical kind of thing
Of
because you
course.
forget you can't. I just want to do it again just to experience it again, but at the same time, it's like you shouldn't do that that often. Like
Yeah.
it's just like Ellen Watts said, right? It's like when you get the message, just hang up the phone kind of thing. But
Yes.
like
Yeah.
sometimes I wanna hear the voicemail again, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where
Something
Ayurveda. Sorry, that's where ayahuasca comes in.
Yeah, no, I think so for sure. So something that I was thinking of, I think of often as you're sharing that is we want to take it back into this matrix, right?
Yeah.
And try to get it through the spoken word or written down on the page. And it's
Mm.
just not the right tool
Mm.
for the job, man. Like you're not going to be able. There's some, Terrence McKenna. He's pretty fucking articulate and
I
and
love
and
that
and,
guy.
po- and, and poetic about it, But regardless, it is a firsthand subjective
Hmm.
experience that you have to
Hmm.
have, right? And you can't
Yep.
take it back with you, and that's part of the
That's the
gift of
beauty
it.
of it. That's the beauty
Yes,
of it. Yeah.
yes,
It's
yeah,
like words that consist of vowels and consonants and just like regurgitating vibrations out of your throat. That can't encapsulate the the vastness of whatever the fuck is this universal fucking like. I can't say it like you know what I'm talking about, but
I do.
nothing can contain that. Nothing can contain that shit,
That's
and
it,
that's
man.
what makes it beautiful.
So I've never felt more primed after your answer to that to ask our final question. Okay,
Oh
this is
shit.
our second to last question. So this is the we're getting to the eastern side, and this is really out there. This is, I think, one of the most fundamental questions we can ask. I'm going to keep it very
Oh shit.
simple. I'm going to
Yes,
keep it very
please.
simple, very simple for you because I think you're already tuned in. What is this?
Mm.
How do you explain yourself as a conscious spiritual being?
Again, it's like going back to what we talked about that experience. We cannot contain this lightning in a bottle, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. So for me, I just really feel, and I know at my core that I'm you, you're me, we're thee. All of the above is all of the below, from left to right, back to forth, green to white. It's all connected. We're all one, and it's just us experiencing ourselves and playing, God playing with himself,
Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully put,
itself,
dude. It's playing with
herself,
itself. Yeah.
themself.
Yeah. I often, when I get down, this is a very Alan Wattsy kind of way to frame it is like, I imagine that there was one thing, God, right? It itself. And it had no duality. It had no differentiation. And it goes, what would be cool? What if I just pretended that this was different than that? So there could be a relationship. So there could be an interaction.
Mm,
And I think that's sort of that little idea just trickled out a trillion times over.
mm,
And it created, this is one of my favorite phrases, uh, infinite expressions from the same
mm,
source. So
mhm.
it's a dichotomy,
Yes,
right?
yes,
They're all unique expressions, but they all
yes,
come from the same place. So it's an
yes,
infinite way of expressing the same one. So one of those
yes.
expressions is Brendon. One of those expressions is Nick. One of those expressions is
100%.
this microphone. you know, the cat, the stray cat that's outside. And because of that seeming difference, that seeming duality of different things being on, the one can now experience itself and know itself in
Yes,
new ways.
yes, yes. The analogy that I love is the idea that we all come from the same ocean, but we're all different waves. But
Yes.
we're gonna come here, make a mark on the sand, and then we're just gonna pull back into the ocean. And
Yeah.
then a new wave is gonna come and replace that, and it's just over, infinite process.
Yeah. And something we can do with spiritual practice is if we're caught up and identified with believing we're the wave,
Mm.
then as it's crashing, we might be terrified that it's going to
Yeah.
get pulled back into the ocean, right? Oh my
Hmm.
God, I'm not going to be a unique wave anymore. What am I going to do? Existential dread. But
Hmm.
from the perspective of the ocean, are you worried that one wave amongst infinite waves is going to crash into the shoreline? No, because you
Hmm.
realize it's a process that's gone on forever. And
Hmm.
when I can tap into that personally, I can kind of shift gears between Nick, identified as Nick, this body and then this personality, doesn't want to die because I
Mm.
feel very special. I'm very invested in this story. I'm very
Yes.
invested in this guy, right?
Yeah.
But I know in the same way that once you go to the DMT realm, you kind of laugh at the idea of death, is you
Yeah.
go, I can take the perspective, using the metaphor, I can take the perspective of the ocean and see Nick or Maverick as one wave. And from there, you are infinite.
Yes.
You are eternal. Because
Yes.
what that is just, again, there's no perfect word for it. We're kind of sloppily failing to explain it, but with the best
Mm,
words possible, we're going to fail the best possible. You
mm,
are that consciousness, which is expressing through this voice, which is seeing out of these eyes, which is aware of all of reality itself.
mm,
And that consciousness is empty. It doesn't have any real specialness or quality to it, right? But we give it specialness and differentiation and quality. But when it comes
mhm,
back to it, it's all zero. It's all the same empty
mhm,
source, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
it seems like through your DMT experiences, through different spiritual experiences you have in your life, you've been able to get back to that core where we all meet.
Yes. Yes. But the question I have for you is like, if whenever we do reach that point, and we reach that, and I'm sure you've reached that point multiple times as well, just like I have. But after the day to day, it's like you forget that, you know? And
One hundred percent.
even if you remember, it's still hard to feel that feeling of like when you just came out of, you're like, holy shit, like that. Like it's hard to reach at that dopaministic level and feel that level of like interconnectedness with the universe. So what do you do to try to get a piece of that taste as much as you can?
So you're right in my wheelhouse, bro, because this is my guru, Paul Hederman. If you're playing the game, take a shot. Every time I mention him, because I mention him every podcast, it's a drinking
Mm.
game. People take shots. My guru, Paul, has a very unique take on your exact question. And he says that one way to frame everything down to two sides is there's what you are and what you're not.
Mm.
Now, ultimately, neither exist. It's actually all back to the emptiness, back to that whole and that experience that we're trying to explain.
Yeah.
But when you feel like I'm not that emptiness anymore, I'm not that Buddhist idea of emptiness, of pure consciousness. I'm not
Mm.
that anymore. I had the experience and I'm not that anymore. You're seeing what you're not. You're
Mm.
seeing that feeling of thinking you're not that is actually a clue because you are aware of that feeling.
Mm.
You're aware of feeling like you're lost.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you feel like you're lost, you can look back to what's looking at you being lost and you're found. When you feel identified with the body or with the personality, you turn it around and goes, what's aware of me believing that I'm just this body? You follow
Mm.
that awareness back, and the awareness brings you right back to that dopamistic state that you're talking about, that you can
Mm.
feel on DMT, that you can feel in deep meditation, you can feel towards spiritual awakenings. So I really believe it's here all the time. It's even
Mhm.
outside of time. It's outside of
I agree.
place, right? It's
I
it's
agree.
it's the fundamental ground, and we can seem to sort of um, move away from it, but that's only ever sort of an illusion. And the
Mhm.
practice that I use is I go, when have any sort of feeling that I'm not whole, when I
Mm.
have any sort of feeling that I'm not home in
Mm.
this moment as consciousness, I just go, okay, I'm aware of that. Let me look back at what's aware of that. And
Mm.
even in this moment now, having a spiritual experience, staring at my laptop, talking to you,
Mhm.
it brings me right back home.
Mhm.
So, if any of that makes any sense to you, I
Yeah.
invite you and all of the listeners to try the same thing. When
Mhm.
you have a longing for like, "Oh my god, I saw the truth purely, and I saw that I'm a spiritual being, and I saw through all the bullshit of egoic stuff and attachment to my body and this and that, but then I lost it." You didn't lose it. You
Mm.
seem to have lost it. What's aware of that feeling that you lost it? Follow it back,
Mhm.
and it's going to bring you right back to the exact same place.
Mm. I love that. It always comes down to awareness and realizing that take a step back and you look at it from a bird's eye view and realize that, oh, hmm, nah, it's always been here.
Yeah, I really appreciate you asking me that question. Actually, man, that's the first time I got to really explain that philosophy that
I love
detailed.
it, bro. It
And
was a great
yeah,
way, great way. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch this to just absorb everything that we talked about as well, because I feel like I learned so much about myself from the questions that you asked. So I appreciate you, Nick.
I can give you an even. That was a little esoteric. I'm going to give you an even more practical. This is my absolute favorite spiritual practice because it's
Oh
so
yeah,
simple. Okay, have you heard
that's
of
a
the
good
headless?
hook, bro.
It is right. It's truth. It's a good hook because it's true.
The
Have you
truth
heard?
is always the best hooks.
There you go. That's another one I gotta write down, bro. You're full of them. Have you heard of the headless way?
The headless way, no.
Okay, so I've had Richard Lang. He's a student of the Richard Harding, no, sorry, Richard Lang, who's a student of Douglas Harding, who invented this idea. He stumbled upon it, I think, in the 1920s. He's been on the podcast twice. So, headless way, my favorite, most practical, accessible spiritual practice. You can once you learn how to do it, you can do it in 5 seconds. And what
Nice.
you do, this is the first time ever taking somebody through the headless way on a
Oh
podcast
shit.
too.
Okay.
You're pulling the
Nice.
best out of me, bro.
I'm
Okay.
picking all those cherries, man. Popping them all.
I love it. So we're gonna do the practice, and everyone that's watching the video can do it too. I want you to
Nice.
take your finger and point at your screen.
Mm.
Okay, so you point at me on the screen, right? I want you to tap into that feeling of I'm here and I'm pointing at something that's other than me. I'm pointing at
Mm.
this laptop, right? And I clearly know I'm Maverick over here looking through these eyes at the laptop and I'm pointing at it. And so that's something different than me. Now, tap into that feeling. And now take your finger and point it back at your eyes.
Mm.
What are you pointing at right now? Not your thoughts or your
Mm.
ideas about what you're pointing at, but in your own direct experience, what are you pointing at?
Same thing. That's crazy.
Boom.
That's crazy, bro. Whoa, what are you doing, man?
It's
Yo, that
it's
hurts. That's crazy.
that's a little lightweight DMT trip for you anytime, bro. Look for your
Man,
head. Look for your head.
like doing this is crazy. Like that's what I love about like when you look in the mirror and you really just look into your own eyes.
Yes.
It's whoa, like
It's psychedelic, bro, if you really are
yeah,
present for it. Yes. Yeah.
100%. Yo, thank you so much for that. What was it called? The headless way?
The headless way. And
Why is it
another
called that?
because you basically are realizing you can't see your head. We never
Ah,
right. We never see our head in the location that it is. Now
yeah,
we can look in a mirror,
yeah.
but our direct experience is it's out there in the mirror. We don't see it. You can't
Mm,
see your own eyes ever from the location that they are at. And so when
mm,
you look for your head, that's the simpler way to say it than the headless way is just look for your head. My favorite spiritual practice is to look for my head
mm.
because I never find my head. And what I find instead of my head is the whole universe, all
Oh
of
man.
reality.
Wait, so is the answer actually like when you asked me what was the question you asked me again? You said what are you pointing at?
Yes.
So is the answer supposed to be the same thing?
Well, that's actually the first time I've ever heard that one, but I immediately resonated with it. There's no correct answer. This is again like
Oh, okay.
answer what a DMT trip is, right? You can't explain it.
Mm, mm.
Um,
Yeah.
you're pointing at the same thing gets to the core of my answer is normally I'm pointing at all of the universe, all of
Mm,
consciousness, because it's sort of the fact that I can't see my own eyes is a hint that this is the source from which all of consciousness emerges,
mm.
right? And it's not literally Nick's head, but
Yeah.
it's the emptiness that's aware of everything,
Yeah.
and everything is inseparable from that same empty source.
That's crazy, bro. I wasn't expecting to have like a DMT trip. A a
Welcome to the laughing stoic Buddha universe, buddy.
a, a pre-cum DMT trip right here, bro.
Little
So
primer,
good.
bro.
No, I love it, man. I
Right
love
on,
it,
dude.
bro.
Okay, so you've been very gracious with your time, man. Thank you. You've absolutely killed all of these. I've gotten so much value out of this.
Same
Feel
here, bro.
really fun
Likewise.
sharing these ideas with you. Because we do get a little deep, a little heavy, even though we've been laughing throughout. I like to finish with the first word in the Laughing Stoic Buddha podcast title. And I'm going to ask you this. What's the first time that comes to mind when I ask you about laughing really fucking hard? Maybe there's tears rolling down your face. Maybe your abs are hurting. You're
Mm,
trying to stop, but you can't.
mm.
This can be something recent, can be something from your childhood. Any moment that comes to mind when you're laughing your ass off.
Yo, it's always when I'm with my partner. It's she's always cracking me up with like even today was like stupid shit, but like little things like I was holding her hand while we were watching a show, and I was holding her hand, and then she put her hand on top of mine, and then I put my hand on top of hers, and then she put her other hand on top of mine, and then I took my hand from the bottom and put it on top of hers, and then like right after that she put her foot on top. I was like, fuck. I cracked up so hard. And it was just like little shit like that. So I just want to say, like, there is a person there for everyone. That's and I don't know if you believe in twin flames or anything like that, but you gotta laugh with your partner. You can't be
Yes,
with someone that's not your best friend. If your partner is not your best friend, you're wasting your time. That's what I
bro.
want to say.
So for the first time in my life, I actually can relate to you. And I've never been able to.
Yes,
The first 34 years of my life.
yo.
But I met a woman. So I always say that I laugh more than anyone that I know. Like
Mm,
like I've never met somebody that can laugh more than me. I
mm,
fucking love to laugh. I laugh at
mm.
stupid shit. I laugh at serious shit. I laugh at
Yeah,
fucking everything. I
yeah.
laugh to tears often. And
That's
I
so
have
healthy.
it's the best, bro. It's the fucking best.
Like people
And
used to say that, oh, you're so easily amused. I'm like, you jealous, bro? You jealous that I'm easily amused, bro?
exactly, dude. Like
That's
that's
the
such a
best.
great gift to be able to laugh through
Yeah.
life. So yeah, so I always thought I had the best sense of humor, not the best sense of humor. I just laugh more than fucking anybody I've ever met.
Yep.
And I met another human being that laughs more than me. And she also
Oh,
happens to be beautiful and I'm fucking
oh,
deeply in love with her and she's
man,
deeply in
there's
love with me. So
bonuses, man.
oh, it's the fucking best dude. So I've never laughed more with any other human, let alone my partner, a woman. I've never laughed more than anybody in my life. We laugh constantly every single day. Like 15 minutes go by and we haven't laughed about something, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a
Mm.
like what's going on here? Like we
Mhm.
laugh all the fucking time. So I
I
wanted
love
to
that.
underline that. I'm so happy for you that you
I'm
found
happy
that
for
twin
us.
flame. Yes, man.
Yes.
Yes. This is a fucking success story for me for sure. It's been a lifetime
Yes.
coming. Yes.
I'm so happy, bro. And I'm sure the more you laugh, the more you're never gonna relapse, bro. I'm telling
Yeah,
you now, bro.
exactly, bro.
The best. Like you just don't want to like you can't taint that shit. It's like this is so pure. It's so childish. So no, sorry,
Yes.
it's not childish. It's childlike.
Childlike. Yes,
It's the best
absolutely,
thing in the
man.
world, man.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful, man. Well, thank you so much for
Brother.
sharing your story, for sharing your energy,
Arigato.
for sharing your wisdom throughout, bro. You absolutely killed this podcast. It's been a long time coming. I'm so glad we made it happen.
I live
And
this podcast, bro. That's what
you
I
did, bro.
do.
Yeah, I feel like I have to like give the title over to you. I mean, I call it, Laughing Stoic Buddha with Nick Bibeau, but it's got to be like Nick Bibeau and Mavericks from now on. Like,
Yo, I'm
you,
down. I'm down to co-host with you one day, man.
hell yeah, dude. I've been talking about that actually, doing some three-parters. So if you want
Oh,
to,
that'll be
if I can,
crazy.
you're so perfectly right on brand, bro.
Dude, I'm
Let's
down,
try to
bro.
get you. Let's try to get you back in
I'm
here
down,
because
bro. Let me know, man. Let me know when
okay.
when you have the next opportunity, and I'll let you know if I'm free.
Will do, man. Real quick, let me before I forget too. You mentioned that you do coaching. Where can
Yes.
people find you? Best social media handles, websites. Where can they find you so that they can work with you and see more of your content?
Thank you, brother. So the best way to contact me is probably on X. So my handle is just Strong Scholar.
Awesome,
STRONG
awesome handle.
SCHOLAR. Yeah, that's my Chinese name
Oh, nice. Right on.
translated. But yeah, so that's probably the best way. Just send me a DM and we'll definitely get something sorted. I'll figure out where that person is going through in their life, and then we'll figure out if I can help them.
Yeah, man. If you're going through anything and you just watch this entire podcast, I think you just found your guy that's going to help
Oh,
coach you
my
and
man.
get you through it. So,
Thank
right
you
on,
so much.
brother.
I appreciate
Thank you for your first appearance. I know it won't be your last in the
you.
Laughing Stoic Buddha universe, and we'll catch you on the next one, man.
My brother. Thank you so much, Nick. You have a lovely
Peace.
night, man.
You too,
Peace,
man.
brother.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this conversation, please hit the like button. If you want to watch more podcasts like this in the future, subscribe and hit the notification to be notified when they come up. If you want to keep up with me, I am on Twitter now every day at write with a W already. Link to that will be in the description. If you want to check out my writing, I publish a newsletter every Friday through Substack. Link to that will also be in the description. I love you guys, and let's keep doing this together. Peace.